Let me say something crazy. You can improve your double bass drumming without even touching your pedals. Sounds wrong, right? But it's exactly how I trained after my kids were born. No noise, no drum kit, and I got better, not worse. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Marthyn, founder of Marthyn's Drum Camp, where we do one thing only: help you master double bass drumming fast. Now, you will notice I'm not sitting at my practice pads today. You can see my pedal here in front of me, but today is different. Today I'm not going to show you any demonstrations because today is the time to show off student demonstrations. Yes, real world results, my friend. We just launched our new school community called Marthyn's Drum Camp about 5 weeks ago. In that short period of time, we already have over 120 students in the program. And within those 5 weeks, we already have incredible student results to show you. I also want to thank my students for their great work ethic and for sticking to the guidelines given in the tutorials. I'm a proud teacher today because I can show you their results and improvements throughout this video. So here's what happened to me. After my 3 sons were born, I took a year off from releasing YouTube content. With 3 small babies at home, you can't really make a lot of noise when they are sleeping. But I still wanted to stay in shape with my double bass playing. So I started doing all my flat foot technique practice sessions on the floor, actually on a carpet. This way there's almost no sound that you can hear. The kids didn't wake up, and I was still able to get a full practice session in. And here's what shocked me. I never really lost the ability to play at mid-tempos. In fact, I was always able to just practice for 5 to 10 minutes at a time and stay in shape. And that's when I realized something huge. You can practice like this almost anywhere and in almost any situation. Just think of how useful it would be if you could eliminate your struggles with mid-tempo double bass drumming while practicing on the floor whenever you have 3 minutes available. That discovery changed everything about how we teach double bass at Marthyn's Drum Camp. Inside our flat foot technique course, it might be quite surprising to some drummers that we actually don't even use double bass pedals in part 1 of that course. And the reason we do this is simple. Our flat foot technique course is tailored for drummers who are beginners and drummers who are currently struggling at mid-tempos. Both of them are facing the same issue. They need to spend time developing their hip flexor. They train themselves to be able to lift their full leg off the floor or off the pedal. And here's the problem. At extremely slow tempos, chances are extremely high that we switch to our calf muscles too early. And why? Because our calf muscle is just trained in a way that it has outstanding endurance and strength. Our hip flexor, on the other hand, needs to be trained first. And floor practice has proven again and again as the key element to train your hip flexor. Any chances of you unconsciously moving to your calf muscles are extremely slim when you are practicing on the floor. But most drummers don't know this. In fact, they believe 3 dangerous lies that keep them stuck. So starting with the biggest one, I can't make real progress without my pedals. This belief right here exists because many drummers think they must have access to a double pedal to improve. They feel stuck when they are away from the kit, assuming practice is pointless without hardware. But here's the truth. Floor workouts using the hip flexor can drastically improve strength, control, and timing, even faster than on pedals in many cases. So look at this student. No pedals, just pure hip flexor training. Notice how clean the motion is. There's no confusion about which muscle to use. By the way, he's using Simon Schilling's flat foot technique approach right now. That's where the front of the part of the foot stays in touch with the floor, but more about that a little later in the video. And this is exactly how our top students trained when they had no kit or couldn't make noise. In this video you can see that one of my students struggled with his left foot at first. With the flat foot technique we want to go for a straight up and down motion. With this student of mine, we first had to get rid of one bad habit that has been stored to his muscle memory in the past. he's not really moving his left foot up and down in a straight line. Instead, he's also straightening his leg a little bit. But actually, with floor practice, it just took him 2 weeks to get rid of this bad habit. So this is his progress with these floor workouts right now. Even when they make mistakes, it's easier to detect and fix them on the floor. No spring tension masking the problem, no rebound hiding bad habits, and just pure muscle isolation. You can practice like this almost anywhere and almost in any situation. Just think of how useful it would be if you could eliminate your struggles with mid-tempos while practicing on the floor whenever you have 5 free minutes available. Belief number 2. Practicing without pedals will create bad habits. This belief exists because drummers fear that training without the resistance and feel of the pedal will mess up their timing, coordination, or technique. But here's my point of view. Yes, practicing on your pedals is really useful. Spending a lot of time with your feet on your pedals is great because you develop a feel for your pedals, for the footboard, and for the momentum of the returning beater. But your bass drum pedals also add a lot of complexity. In some cases, your pedal is almost dictating which muscle groups you're using. There are a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to think about. If you want to isolate a specific muscle group and train it, either for the first time if you're a double bass beginner, or if you want to get a specific muscle group up to speed, like the hip flexor finally catching up, then floor practice in the beginning is more beneficial. Why? Because it's just easier to focus and single out a single muscle group. Most bad habits don't form on the floor. They form on the pedals because we are trying to force speed or power. Floor practice, on the other hand, removes all those distractions, making it easier to focus on the correct muscle group and detect technical flaws. A great side effect of floor practice is that you will build up the confidence to play at a certain tempo even without pedals. And once you add in the pedals again, you will play more solid and with more confidence as well, knowing exactly which muscle group to activate. But here's where drummers make their third mistake. Belief number 3. This is too basic. I need to play faster, not simpler. This belief right here exists because drummers stuck at 130 to 150 BPM think more speed drills are the answer. They chase complexity instead of building clean, isolated technique at slower tempos first. And here's what's happening in the online drum education space that drives me crazy actually. Online drum teachers are overcomplicating this on purpose. Yes, they are coming up with crazy, made-up workout routines and exercises. Right now we are at the point where they even start to change the names of regular, well-known foot techniques, basic foot techniques like the heel down or heel up technique. They even come up with new terms for those techniques, which are basically marketing tricks, nothing else. And the answer is no, you don't need 10 different made-up workout routines to improve your flat foot technique and master mid-tempos. Think of it like building a house. One person spends 3 months getting the foundation perfect, solid, level, strong. Another person starts the foundation and then gets excited and jumps to the walls, then tries the roof, then goes back to plumbing. And after 3 months, who you think is further ahead? You know the answer to this yourself. Same is true when it comes to double bass drumming if you follow these online drum teachers. You will constantly change your pedal settings, you will change your technique every time you're not having a great practice session, and in the end you will end up nowhere. So back to the positive stuff. Look at this student practicing at 140 BPM on the floor. Clean, controlled, confident. No complexity, no confusion, just one motion mastered. The fastest progress happens when you remove variables like spring tension and pedal weight and train the muscle directly. Floor workouts give pure feedback, and once that muscle group is activated properly, applying it to the pedals becomes 10 times easier. In our flat foot technique course at Marthyn's Drum Camp, we cover the floor workouts in part 1. In part 2, we transfer this motion onto the pedals. And here's the cool thing. Once you're confident and you have trained this muscle group, transferring it to the pedals actually becomes really easy. The truth is that when you place your feet on the pedals, it's even easier to play. Why? Because you have the spring tension and momentum of the returning beta helping you out during the up motion of the flat foot technique. You're lifting your full leg off the floor or off the pedal, then you let it drop back down again. On the way up, the spring tension and the momentum of the returning beta is actually assisting you in lifting up. So once you're confident enough, it will become easier and you will need less energy to play like that. And for those of you that want to accelerate this process even further, it's time to add in some ankle weights. To make sure that your hip flexor gets up to speed and is trained properly, we emphasize the use of ankle weights. These just increase the training effect. Adding a bit of extra weight can help you increase the training effect significantly. 1.5 to 2 kilograms per leg is ideal. More than 3 kilograms becomes counterproductive. The ankle weights force your hip flexor to work harder during the isolation phase. And when you remove them, your feet feel lighter and faster instantly. It's actually like training with a weighted bed, then switching to a regular one. Everything feels easier. So, if you want to try this yourself, here's exactly how. Starting tempo for you should be around 70 to 80 beats per minute. Don't go faster yet. Build the foundation first. The motion, here's where it gets interesting. In our drum camp, we actually teach 2 different approaches to the flat foot technique, and both work incredibly well for training your hip flexor. Approach number 1, the Simon Schilling method. This approach comes from Simon Schilling, drummer for Marduk. Keep the front part of your foot in contact with the floor at all times. Use only your hip flexor to lift your entire leg. Your toes stay grounded, your heel comes up. The second approach is heavily inspired by Derek Roddy. For this one, you always want a 90-degree angle between your lower leg and your foot. You lift your whole foot off the floor as one unit. Complete separation from the ground. Both of these 2 approaches have their advantages. All you need to know right now is that they both work really well when it comes to training your hip flexor. Choose whichever feels more comfortable for you. And when you start practicing, please focus on the following. Number 1, your hip flexor is doing all the work. Number 2, relax your lower legs, especially your calf muscle. You don't want to actively involve them while practicing like this, otherwise you won't get the desired training effect. If you want an even bigger challenge, then add 1.5 to 2 kilogram ankle weights while practicing on the floor. Once you can play at a really slow tempo, 60 notes, 70 BPM for example, for 5 minutes straight, then increase the tempo to 75, 80 BPM and so on. When this is solid and you finally transfer this to the pedals, you'll be shocked at how much easier it feels. So, if you've been stuck at mid-tempos or thought floor practice was too basic, remember this. You don't need pedals to make real progress. You don't need complexity to get results. You just need 10 minutes and the floor. That's it. The strongest techniques start with the simplest motions. Train the right muscle group. Ignore the noise from complicated workout routines. And yes, you really can improve your double bass without even touching your pedals. In fact, it might be the fastest way forward. At this point, I also want to take a moment to thank all of my amazing students for putting in the work. It makes me proud to see them getting these results. I've been teaching double bass drumming actually since 2016 already, and having such a high number of student results just within a couple of weeks still amazes me. For everyone watching, if you want to learn more about our program, then just go to school.com/Marthyn. Thanks a lot for watching. I wish you a great day. Cheers from Vienna. Bye bye.